Welcome to the Grappling Grappling Rewind Podcast.
Welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. On this week's show, we are going to recap the finals matches for the 2025 ADCC European Trials, the first trials that kick off the ADCC 2026 championship season. As always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, co-host
Miranda.
How you doing, Miranda?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. You ready to carry the show? Because it's been a very long day, and I've already messed up all of these European names.
Well, and we have a couple other events we're going to kind of touch on, too.
So we're going to touch on the main event for Polaris this week as well, which was Owen Livesey versus Tommy Langaker for what was Craig Jones's belt before Craig Jones retired it.
Yep, the vacant 205 light heavy belt.
There's an interesting story that kind of comes along with that because Langaker's size. We'll get into that when we get into that section of the show. We have that. We also are probably going to touch on the finals for EBI. Interesting finals, new kind of player there, so that was interesting. And then next week we'll also touch on BJJ Stars will be next week. There's a really cool tournament for that event coming up. We'll touch on at the end of the show. And then most likely circle back to the Polaris Squads event next week as well. So that's kind of the framework for the next 2 weeks. We're finally back. The CJI has pushed us out a week, which is kind of really weird for the show. Typically, we don't run stuff this long.
Then there was like a bunch of events back to back, which it kind of blows my mind because some of these guys have been in all the events.
Declan.
And I'm like,
Kenta.
How the hell did you just do like 3 pro events like every weekend in a row and your bodies aren't falling apart?
They're falling apart, but we don't test. And I hope.
Yeah, true.
So I have no big news this week. CJI, there's a bunch of drama. New Wave's not getting paid now. They were getting paid. We talked about it last week. We've covered the event on the mat. The matches itself, that's sort of all I have much interest in on this show. We've kind of all we've ever had interest on in this show. If you want more hot takes and news and drama, like we're probably not the show for you. If you want kind of analysis of mats and the athletes on the mat for their performances, that's kind of our show. That's what we've always done. That's sort of what we're always going to continue to do because that's what I'm interested in mostly. But they're not getting paid now. That is big news. It is kind of unfortunate. Wagner made a good post about it, basically, kind of going like, disappointed that I thought we were going to get paid, and then now we're not getting paid, so that's disappointing. Understandably, you're losing $200,000 that you thought you were getting. It's understandable. I think he had kind of the most measured and best response of anyone I've seen. But after the mat event happened, I was like, okay, we figure out the payouts and then have moved on. So that's all I have, Miranda. Any kind of other thoughts or any other news you have for the week?
No, I was looking.
Stevenson won his fight.
Yeah, Stevenson won his fight, and then the post response from Craig Jones was hilarious.
It was very funny.
I thought it was funny.
As we like, let's talk about news and drama, and immediately I'm like, well, that one was funny. So
but he did win. I think we also missed like a 1FC event.
We talked about Ty last week.
Did you?
Talked about Ty's win last week.
Because there was
a pro debut.
There was a bunch of random stuff going on that
Gary whatever got married.
Yeah, for whatever reason, like it fell off my world.
CJI took it out of it. I think that was a big trip.
And I'm trying to transition to sometimes teaching AM classes, which means I get up at like 4:30 in the morning, and that's been making my brain a little slow.
So welcome to this week on the Grappling Rewind Podcast. So that's all I got for news this week. Let's kick right into trials. We have some really cool trials stories coming in from last week, but again, we didn't get a chance to cover it last week because we were doing CJI.
Go up because you're missing one. Okay.
Nope, that's just we're in advance now.
Okay.
Yeah, so we were looking at the smooth comp results.
I don't know. For whatever reason, I was like, I expected there to be another men's category. My brain isn't working.
It's in the reverse order here. So we're going to go in order. We're going to go through all the men's matches. So if this is your first time going through a trials season for ADCC, here's how they work. Here's the 2-minute primer on why we're so excited about this. ADCC, the World Championships, run every 2 years. This year, they're in Poland. Tickets are about
Next year, they're in Poland.
Sorry, next year, 2026, they're in Poland. Tickets are about what? We did the math.
They start at $65.
Which is worth it.
For both days.
We're already looking at flights and tickets and going out.
Well, we can't do flights yet, but...
Well, we looked at flights.
Yeah, we kind of did. We got a gist.
It's the biggest, or is the biggest, most prestigious no-gi event in the world. It is so great because for the years, it was the largest cash prize in the sport, and it has an open trials system. So athletes can either be invited, for instance, if you place 1 through 4, you're pretty much automatically invited. If you place 1 through 4 at the World Championships 2 years prior, you're given an invite. All your champions, all your medalists, like, hey, you were awesome last time. You earned the right to come back. We're just going to invite you back out. Then there's some select invites for people that like have visa issues or are really exciting in the community, have amazing gi pedigrees and are making the move over to no-gi.
Yeah.
People will get very simple. Margali got an invite. Mikey Musumeci got an invite. Ryan Hall got an invite.
Yeah.
Like GSP at one point got an invite. Khabib has had an invite before. Like those, did they go? Did they not go? That's a different story. But people that are going to be exciting, going to draw eyes, that are high-level grapplers get invited. And then there's the trials. Each region, the 4 regions of the world have 1 trial per year. For the men's divisions, that is your regional world champion, your regional championship. So this is the European Championship. So the people who win in this card or this event last week are the European champions for 2025. If you are the European champion for the men on an odd year, you get an invite into the world champions. That's why this event is commonly called trials. So it's ADCC European Trials. If you win the trials, the top slot gets an automatic, basically invite, wins their slot into ADCC for the coming year, either 2026 or, in the 2-year cycle. The women, because the divisions are smaller, are 8 women. It is only the second trials of a year. So the European trials that happen in 2026, the European Championships then, the women's divisions, those will also have a qualifying athlete. So this one, we're still going to talk about the women's divisions because they're important, but they don't win a slot into the World Championships. The men win slots in each because their divisions are 16, and the women's divisions are only divisions of 8.
Yeah.
So this is Europe. We also have Australasia and Asia. Africa are in one trial. Europeans in Africa.
It's Eurasia.
European Africa. And then we have the Asian and Oceanic trials. We have the North American trials and the South American trials. So those are, and it's done by passport. So you'll notice that there are some athletes that compete in European trials and North American trials, dual passports. Guys like Oliver Taza, who we'll talk about in under 77 kilos. He has a Lebanese passport and he has a Canadian passport. He does both. Ajit Hage is a notable guy, has an American passport, has a Brazilian passport. Who's another really notable example? Big Dan Manasuri, Romanian passport and U.S. passport.
Joseph Chen has like all the passports.
Has like a Chinese passport. He has a German passport and he has
South African
passport.
Yeah,
which for Europe puts him in the same one. And then we have guys, for instance, another really good example is Roberto Jimenez.
Yeah,
Ecuadorian passport and U.S. passport, so can do both.
Yeah.
So again, it's an edge case, but it is by your passport. So when you weigh in at trials, you have to show your passport that shows that, yep, you are valid to compete in this event because it is a championship for the region. And so it kind of brings it fun.
Well, yeah. It's not like everybody has to show their passport, but if they ask you to see it, they expect to
so they don't know you.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times they ask.
Because I was in the weigh-in line the one time where they were like harassing people about passports. And there was a chick that was Canadian, and they were giving her a hard time. And I was like, what the fuck? Do these people not realize Canada is part of North America?
We did a trials where there was an Egyptian guy in North American trials that was trying to go in. He's like, literally, I was like, yeah, man, your passport's not a North American passport, though. And so it's very rare, but it is by passport for a region that you're a passport holder from. Why I love trials so much is because it makes ADCC an event that puts your money where your mouth is. If you think that you're the best guy in the world, there's no, oh, they didn't invite me, I didn't get in. Like, you can go to your region, you can win a trials event and earn your slot.
Yeah.
And as a result, we get people that are under the radar that maybe haven't had a big push on a professional scene or a card that aren't getting invited to these big events, getting a chance to win and make their case for like, hey, I am the guy or the woman that deserves to be on the world stage.
Yeah.
And so there's no excuses. If like, oh, if ADCC would have invited me. Nope, you had an opportunity to go there. If you thought you were the best in the world, you should have won your trials and then gone to ADCC and shown that you were. So, and again, that's a little less common now, or more common now. But back in the day, ADCC, it was like the definitive no-gi tournament, and there were no excuses. If you thought you were the best, you could go there and win it. So that is my full comprehensive ADCC, why I love trials and they're so important to us. Let's move into it. What do you want to start?
We're going to start with the ones in front of your face.
Start with the men's professional. So again, apologies to everyone in Europe. My pronunciation of all the European names is abysmal at best. We have Nicoderm. I did it like 14 times in the pre-show.
Mukulizin.
Versus Andre Cherinsky.
Yes.
Nicoderm versus Andre. Nicoderm is 17 years old.
He is.
And dude looked real good. They have a super cut of most of these guys and women for this event together. Looked really good.
Supercut is all their matches together, so you can watch one video and has all of their stuff.
It is like my favorite thing because Flow has a terrible search for matches, and it is impossible to find event results. So if you want to see what a champion run looked like, they're all together. It's like one of the only ways that you can reasonably do that, aside from like trying to piece together and deal with the Flow search, which I really would hope would be better nowadays. But they have them for this one, and it's really good. So we move on. This was a sub. This is a rear naked choke win.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a quick rear naked choke win.
It's pretty quick. This is one of 3 matches of the weekend that ended up with a rear naked choke away from the camera.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to see like the hand position, how the hand fight look. He gets the back. Everyone's going to the body triangle now. It is an ADCC staple because it scores.
Yeah.
So again, one of the reasons I love ADCC is that position scores. And so you have people that like Declan elects for the body triangle. You no longer just have to throw your hooks in and then make the cycle off.
Yeah.
You can just throw immediately to the best position that you want and then work for the choke. He gets the choke. He kind of scrambles out from an R-lock and then immediately covers the back, throws the choke in, which was kind of the flavor of the weekend for most of the subs in the finals. Was really nice transition, scramble to the back off a pass or off of a sweep into the back and then immediately into a rear naked choke sequence.
Yeah.
3 different matches ended this way. Again, I don't know much about Nikodem, which is why, again, I'm excited that he won at trials because it gives us an opportunity to see him ahead of time for the next year before the World Championships and not be seeing him at the World Championships and go, hey, who's this guy? He's going to get on other stuff. We're going to get a chance to see him and kind of see him develop his game because he's 17 and won European trials at under 66 kilos.
Yes.
So you looked him up earlier, and he is at Owen O'Flanagan's gym, right?
Yeah, Los Banditos.
Los Banditos, and also Ariane Asfameldez as well. I'm butchering Ariane's last name. Both trials winners run that gym.
And Owen Jones and all of those guys are there too.
So a lot of really dope guys out of Europe.
And smaller guys.
Yeah, Owen's big.
Owen's not, big. But Owen is.
Owen Jones is.
Owen Jones is about, And
Owen Jones is 66. Owen O'Flanagan is 88.
Yeah, true.
But still, like, high-level leg lockers and again, a gang of trials winners come out of that gym. So really excited to see what he looks like. Again, watch the Supercut. This is the first, I think we might have mentioned him on an earlier card on some point, but this is the first I'm really remembering seeing him. Impressive performance, looked good in the finals. Anything else?
Nope.
Let's move on to really staples of the under 77 kilo division. We had Oliver Taza versus Magomed. Russian last name is going to throw me off here.
Zarbev.
So what is it?
Zarbev.
This was a classic Oliver Taza match with some notes. Oliver Taza, if you ever watch his European trials run, really more so in his European trials runs than in his U.S. trials runs or his North American trials runs. Taza has gotten really, really good, and we've talked about this for years. Taza is, if you cannot beat the game that Taza brings at you, you're never going to contend with elite guys. If you can deal with the specific game that Taza brings, which is going to be a shot from range where he grabs a low single leg and drives forward on you.
Yeah.
And then he's going to wrestle you up or wrestle you to a half guard. And then he's either going to invert underneath you for one of 2 different knee bars he does and one of 2 really, really good heel hook entries that he does. He can do some other stuff and he can go on top. But generally speaking, he wants to play this game from starting underneath you, from a low pole into your legs, elevating you over, and getting these essentially knee bar and heel hook.
Yeah.
That is his game. If you can plan for Oliver Taza and are good enough, you can beat Oliver Taza. Most people can't. But routinely, we see Oliver Taza implement this strategy at trials. And in the finals, someone will be good enough to know, cool, this is essentially an IQ test.
Yeah.
I know exactly how Oliver Taza is going to fight me. And Oliver Taza is super, super predictable in his game and the way he's going to play. And so if you have planned your game effectively, you can stop what Taza is going to bring and win on activity, win on top position and pace.
Yeah.
That is exactly what Magomed does here, essentially, is Taza early going in the rounds looks to wrestle and looks, you can't pull in the finals. Every other round in ADCC and trials, you can pull.
Yeah.
In the finals, you suddenly are forced to wrestle, which is a flavor that I kind of like. I like, hey, man, money where mouth is. You're going to be required to wrestle at the World Championships if you make it here. So in your finals, we need to see that you can wrestle or at least can mitigate the negative 1 point you're going to get on a guard pull.
Yeah.
And usually in European trials, a lot of matches will come down to that one pull or something. It's not uncommon to see that. Even in U.S. trials, sometimes it'll come down to that pull. Magomed knows that Taza has to drive forward long enough and 3 seconds of drive forward to basically actively be going for a takedown. And then with contact, you can pull guard.
Yes.
Taza does this early in the match. Magomed sees it and goes, okay, yep, this is exactly what I expected out of Oliver Taza. Doesn't get entangled. Consistently makes an off angle and starts shoving Taza's head down and not letting Taza get into his legs, not letting Taza get elevation, not letting Taza really get behind him enough to wrestle him down or turn him over, which is, again, probably given Magomed's wrestling background, is not where Magomed wants to be. He doesn't want to be dealing with a passing Oliver Taza from top position. He wants to be passing himself from like a low guard that Taza plays.
Yeah.
And so the beginning edges of the match are essentially this. Taza low, pulling really twice, shooting enough so that he's not getting called for a pull. Because again, we've problems with Taza's game here and there, but generally speaking, Taza is not a guy that misunderstands the rules. He got what was it, Polish Mateus match?
Yeah.
Where he lost due to the pull. And that was a couple of years ago, I think. Because Taza...
No.
Polish Mateus pulled.
Polish Mateus lost.
That's okay. I always mix up the two.
Polish Mateus lost.
Yeah. Taza's not a guy
goal.
usually that will make an error, an unforced error here. He knows exactly how he has to drive in order to be able to pull and not get the negative, which is great. Like you, as a sports commentator, I'm really happy when I see athletes play to the rule set. Hey, man, that is what ADCC's rules are. That is what you're required to do. I much rather see that than seeing Taza like pulling incorrectly and getting points scored against. I'm like, hey, man, he knows his rules. He knows what he's required to do. He does it. And Magomed just blocks it. Blocks it and doesn't get turned over and then starts passing.
And if you kind of understand Taza's game, you can kind of beat Taza's game.
Yeah, and we've seen it kind of time and time again.
Yeah, he has a very... I won't say it's one-dimensional because it's not really. Like, if you watch him outside of trials, if you watch him, he has a good passing game.
Yeah.
He has a lot of different games, but for whatever reason, this is the game he plays when he does trials.
This is the game in finals of trials.
Yeah.
We see him play different. Again, when we see him up against like the razor's edge of like the finals and trials, because he's in trial finals almost every time.
Yeah.
In most regions that he competes in, he's at least in day 2 for North American trials.
He lost
and usually in that mix.
He lost to Davis Sarah last year.
Yeah, like a close match. But again, guys that train together too. Later in the match, Taza stands. He's like, okay, my wrestling game has not worked. Like the bottom playing game that I want here for the deep half and for the sweeps, the underneath, like for his A game, isn't working. We've talked about Taza can wrestle. Yeah. Like it's almost frustrating because it's a thing we see him do occasionally, and it's like, oh, this looks a lot better than I thought. Like we're always frustratedly surprised at how good Taza's wrestling is. The problem is Magomed is most likely a better wrestler. Magomed has better hip position. He has better movement. He has better heists up.
And he has more consonants in his last name.
A lot of Z's. And the one thing that we see consistently is you see, and what sort of frustrates me a little bit from watching Taza here is you can see that Taza is looking to pull off of it. Yeah. Consistently. He's getting these exchanges, looking to meet the criteria to drive in enough to get under and pull. And you see Magomed figure this out. Yeah. Especially in the overtime of like, oh, you really want to pull. I have to be driving into you enough so that you're not making any forward momentum. Yeah. You can never pull off of this because you're going to be seen getting taken down as a result, getting countered. Taza also knows this, which is, again, incredible. Most people put in this situation with the skill set Taza has will crack. Yeah. And will eventually go, I'm going to try and jump for it. And they'll get the score
Yeah.
against them. Taza never does that, which is a monumental thing to see. Like, most people in Taza's slot here are not going to have the mental wherewithal to know the rules that well at the end in these like tired moments like Oliver Taza does. Magomed knows that Taza kind of probably can't take him down and just consistently puts up offense. He consistently stands at a range that he can't deal with.
He lost.
To Powell?
No, he
Brzezinski?
lost to Joseph Chen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last trials. In the
trials.
finals.
Yeah.
Or was that Langaker in the finals?
Nope.
It was Taza in the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was Joseph Chen.
He's consistently in the finals
Yeah.
at 77 kilos. Magomed just like consistently blocks him, and then late in the overtime just puts up a better pace.
Yeah.
He gets more hip positioning. He starts working for takedowns because he knows that if he puts really heavy pressure, forward pressure into Taza, it limits the game that Taza can play. And because Taza can't out-wrestle him in the spot that he's forced the match into, Magomed takes a close but relatively clean decision over Oliver Taza.
Yes.
This was actually a really fun match back and forth because you see in Taza, man, I know the rules really, really well.
Yeah.
And you saw Magomed know, oh man, I know what Oliver Taza is going to bring to this match really, really well, and just sort of outplayed and played in front of it and never got into Taza's game, because if you play into Taza's game, he kills you.
Yeah.
And so it was a neat match, kind of on both sides of like, oh yeah, this is how you need to beat Oliver Taza, but also you have to have the wrestling ass behind you to be able to beat Oliver Taza in this way, because Taza is kind of an underrated wrestler when he decides to wrestle. And in this match late, he did decide to wrestle. So interesting match. Again, we've talked about it before. I wish we'd see Taza open up his game more, because it's a little consistent that guys could sort of beat him in this way.
Yeah.
And we know when he opens up his game, he's really, really good. He can probably win these kind of matches. We've seen him win these kind of matches. This is a decision that can go his way.
Yeah.
But he just really plays it close to the chest in his A-game at trials, and it didn't. Anything else on that?
No.
What you looking up? I see you looking up a record here, because I think I got something wrong.
because he actually went against Oliver Taza at trials in 2021 and lost.
So Taza beat him in 21.
Taza beat him in 2021.
And that was the trials Taza won.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was the
No, and I've seen this guy before. I'm just trying to figure out why I've seen this guy before and where he came from.
He's a Gate team, and we've seen them before.
I know, and it's probably like Aiga or something like that.
Probably. Or trials. Probably trials.
But I want to say he went against somebody recently, or maybe I'm confusing people altogether. But anyway.
Regardless, so we're going to see Magomed at the World Championships.
Yeah.
Coming up. Moving on to the men's under 88 kilo division, Paolo Jaworski versus Santieri Elias. This is sort of really similar in gamesmanship from the last match.
Yeah.
This is Paolo kind of doing what Taza wants to do, which is just consistent footlocks. Like, hey baby, it's footlock season.
But he's getting into his footlocks more than Taza was.
And Santieri this was a cool match because you saw the veteran game of Santieri. Like, Santieri, I think this will be the first trials loss that he has.
Yes.
And this is the first loss in like two or three, at least two trials.
I don't think he ever had points scored against him. I think he had like one of those scores.
Oh yeah,
he was one of those like I don't even get points scored against.
He was like the Paulo Ardilla of European trials, where it's like another dude at 88 you just can't beat.
Yeah. It's just solid.
He's just solid, man. Paulo footlocks a lot of dudes very quickly, and Santieri was just calm, collected. But the entirety of the match, he was on the defensive.
Yeah.
He was on the defensive, and Paulo would go for a footlock. Santieri would
no O. Powell. No O.
I'm looking up Jaworski and adding the O into the first
Yeah.
name. My bad.
I was like, he's not like Paulo.
Powell.
It's like Paul.
I did. I gave the caveat at the beginning of the show that I was going to butcher the European names. Again, apologies to everyone that listens over from Europe. Again, you guys have sent me Instagram voice messages over the years fixing this problem, and I very much appreciate those. I've listened to them over and over again. They have helped so many problems, but there's a lot of names of this one that I'm struggling with. So Powell, he's just consistent with the legs, man. And what he did and what I liked is a lot of times he would throw up an ankle lock or an outside heel hook, and he would go to like a long leg X guard.
Yeah.
And he would force Santeri to like tech down and not be able to just sort of outside pass or like even check down pass. He would force him to like completely unravel the legs, get out, turn the feet, and like fully have to disengage and not really have any good counter options in a lot of these leg locks that Powell was throwing up. And it was just, you saw sort of, I was watching the time for this match, and I was sort of just watching the time tick away, and I was like, okay, Santeri's got to kind of get something going, because like it's a non-scoring match.
Yeah.
And then it was just going. I was like, ooh, Powell's just been more active. He's just been able to do more in this match. He's been on the offensive, and in an even score match in ADCC, they give it to the aggressor. Yeah. He's been doing enough positional maintenance here where he's not just playing off his back.
Santeri didn't really have any submission attempts.
Yeah.
At all. He was just trying to pass the whole time. And Powell was just going after his
And a lot
legs.
of the passes that he was doing were like off of motion that Powell had made, which in ADCC you're looking, and not every single one. There was definitely some back and forth in the initiation for movement on the bottom, but generally speaking, even in the passing attempts, half of them were probably initiated by Santeri. Half of them were initiated as counters from what Powell was doing, and Powell was throwing up leg lock attempt after leg lock attempt after like cross guard attempt after X guard attempt after over, just like forcing Santeri to continue to deal with that. And then the match ends, and I can see either one. I think Powell wins this on just sort of activity criteria, and he did. Yeah. And that's like, it was just really impressive because usually Santeri will get out of something early because he'll get put in danger early, and then he'll counter, and then his counter game is amazing, especially versus leg lockers. We've seen him time and time again get foot locked, like somebody gets a foot lock in on him, and then he just counters to a sweep or to a back take or to a pass. Like that was how he won the last trials. Was I think somebody tried to foot lock him, he countered off it, got through, got past, and then scored. I think he subbed too after the score.
It would surprise
He's
me.
really good at that. So to see Powell be able to throw up that level of offense and not have Santeri be able to ever like get his own offense going was really impressive.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. I thought Mariah texted me the dog has eaten some wontons from the air fryer.
Oh.
She ate some wontons from the air fryer, and the dog has eaten.
Oh, okay.
Sorry about that. I was like, "Hey, wontons? I just took him to the emergency vet. I just took him to the emergency vet like 2 days ago because he ate a bunch of stuff he shouldn't have eaten. He's fine now, so we're good. Sorry. I just had like a sweat run at me of like, we just did this. Anything else on Jaworski?
Nope.
Let's move on to what I thought the best match of the weekend was. It was technically last weekend, but for me, this weekend. Declan Moody versus Marcin Machulowicz, rematch from CJI.
Yeah.
And, dude, Declan, dude is impressive.
Yeah.
Again, I never forget the Austin call that he made where it's like, I think he wins trials. I was like, who is this guy? He was like, yeah, I think he wins trials. And then he won trials and has gone on to be just an amazing athlete.
They are also both very, very large and fast men.
Dude, Marcin did not used to be this big. He has gotten way bigger and like grown into his body in a really interesting way. He had some size parity with Declan in a way that most guys at under 99 kilos do not have.
Yeah.
He was able to physically contend with him. This was a super fun match because this was Marcin having good enough wrestling to deal with Declan. And then Declan deciding, there was the sequence that, there was two sequences of this match that I loved. One was an initial early takedown entry from Marcin. Marcin shoots, dude's driving Declan off the mat. Yeah. And then Declan goes to step in front of counter, and then Marcin, like you do off a single leg shot counter, he goes to look like he's going to Kane Basami, like scissor leg takedown Declan. Declan sprawls that leg out behind. Marcin reads it, starts to stand up in front, and Declan just does the body lock and just lifts and takes down. Yeah. And it was just a really great counter, offense to counter to score and counter. Again, it was early enough in the match, so the first half of these matches in ADCC are non-scoring. So if there's a takedown, doesn't mean anything. It still counts towards the decision at the end of the matches, but it doesn't score. So Marcin loses nothing for going for this, but Declan needs to put him down, puts him down, and then ends up with Marcin being on the bottom and Declan passing. Yeah. Which is a position that both of them kind of want to be in. I think
Yeah, true.
like Marcin wants to break your legs off like every Polish man apparently in this sport right now.
It seems to be the Polish thing to do.
Yeah, man. Jaworski, Szynski, Marcin, like
Yeah.
all of them are just like, dude, what is in the water in Poland that just makes really dope leg lockers and just can take your feet home? And then it is Marcin playing for the feet and Declan passing.
Yeah.
And Declan passing and Declan passing and just like being really stifling and not really letting Marcin get into any entry that he really wants. And I was really impressed with just the diligence of how Declan was dealing with Marcin, because if you play too far away from Marcin, he scoots towards you and scoots under you, and then he's tall enough and big enough to really off balance in you and get you into a footlock off of like an elevator sweep.
Yeah.
Declan has a body style that normally that is going to be a massive problem.
Yeah.
Where he tends to stand a little high on you.
But if you also remember, Declan used to be a smaller dude.
I know, which he was like
and
a
he
kid,
has like small dude jiu-jitsu in a big man body.
which is just this. That's the scariest combination of things.
Yeah,
Like, hey
it
man,
is.
you're supposed to be big and slow and not that good. And then Declan was like, I once was small, and you're like, oh, it's always the guys that were small at like 17, 18,
Yeah.
and then get enormous that are just the monster dudes.
Yeah.
Kenta, Declan, Gordon, like all those guys,
Yeah.
Roberto, were all like little as adults and then got enormous, and you're like, oh god, now you have really good jiu-jitsu and you're huge
And you're fast.
and you're fast.
Yeah.
There's one sequence where Marcin basically reverses Declan or just sweeps Declan.
Yeah.
And so Declan's like, I was like, okay, cool. This is an interesting dynamic. Marcin is now going to try to pass and like implement his game and try to like put a stamp on, he's put Declan on the bottom. And Declan does what Miranda and I both called the Keenan sweep.
Yeah. This is what I've been told that it was called.
Because I saw Keenan do it. And so what it is
It's
like,
Keenan's who made it popular, I think.
yeah, it's an Instagram sweep.
Yeah. I mean, it works.
But
it's so weird. I've never been able to actually make it work.
it's one of the things you try and try and try again. The thing is like, so I'm going to describe it.
I actually think it's an Atos suite. Like I think
it is an Atos
I think they teach it at Atos. I just don't. I've only seen Keenan teach it.
I saw the video. Like
Yeah.
Keenan taught it and was where I saw it recently. It is basically a hook sweep, but it's like a far leg hook sweep, where basically you trap your opponent's tech to leg. They're kind of like in a wrestling, in like a takedown stance.
Yeah.
And you trap their leg, and then you do a really aggressive tech stand up.
Yeah.
But you have their leg, and you basically pull their leg out from underneath you, like you'd almost do an ankle pick.
Yeah.
But you're doing it with your
leg.
own knee trapped in front of their ankle.
Yeah.
And so you're using your knee to basically tech up, and the leg that ends up behind you is the leg that their foot is trapped on. So you're playing guard like in a Z guard. You loop your low leg down, you trap their leg that's standing.
Yeah.
And then you stand up really aggressively and you pull that leg out in front of you. It happens occasionally. There are some videos of it happening occasionally, but it's one of those things that I've never seen anyone actually use it in a high level match. Again, Marcin and Declan, both are really good guys. I've never seen anyone actually make it work.
No,
And-
it's one of those like, and it looks really cool because it has like no
does look
effort.
really
There's like
cool.
no effort that
It
has
also
to go
looks
into
so
it.
mean
I know.
when you do it. So this happened, and I paused the match, and I ran over to Rachel's office. I was like, look, it happened. And she goes, that's a neat sweep. I was like, I know it is. It's really cool. I'm never going to make it work, but it looked really cool, and Declan finally hit it.
Yeah.
It was wild. And then eventually Declan is able to, in like one of the next scramble sequences, he really like turns on the passing pressure and forces Marcin to his back, and then again another rear naked choke finish away from the camera, locks it in, and I'm assuming just squeezes just as hard as he possibly can, obviously gets Marcin to tap, and Declan wins trials again.
Yep.
Again, really impressive. Anything else on Declan? Anything else or on Marcin in this one?
Nope.
This was a lot of fun. Moving on, we had the over 99 kilo division, once again won by Mark McQueen. He wins that over Abraham Martinez. Go and watch the supercut of Mark McQueen's matches in this tournament. There's a theme.
Yeah.
It is Mark McQueen real fucking strong. And if you don't know who Mark McQueen is, he won trials last year, or one of the last two European trials. I think it was the second trials.
Yeah. It was the last European trials.
And Miranda looked him up then and was like, yo, Homie is strong.
Dude is a lifter, and he has like records in lifting,
Like Scottish lifting records. Like he is an elite lifter.
Yeah,
And he
forgot.
does something in all of his matches that is it's like, that doesn't work. But we think that he is strong enough where it's like, hey man, when you leverage your attributes and it lines up perfectly, it works on everyone. He does basically an S-grip body lock and takes everyone down off this in the entire tournament. The supercut is just this happening over and over and over and over again. And this is wild to see like once or twice in a tournament.
Yeah.
To have Mark McQueen be able to do this to his first round and his finals match and everyone in between is absurd.
It's
He just eventually he out-hand fights you, which is again impressive in itself. And then he will get the S-grip body lock or the hand-to-hand body lock, usually S-grip body lock. And then he will just sort of squeeze you in and just very slowly usually drag you down.
Yeah.
And eventually just kind of leans and sags on you and drags you, kind of pushes you over. And then he ends up essentially in a kind of an awkward body lock. But he doesn't leave it there for the finals match.
Yeah.
For the finals match, he actually shows off the passing that he's been doing. And he starts to pass, and you're like, okay, Mark McQueen, again, it wasn't a one-trick pony the last time he won trials, but it was, he's, again, a guy that started late. We weren't really familiar with his game. His passing has improved.
Yeah.
His passing has improved a fair bit.
I think he's been going to Kingsway on and off.
Okay. Well, that would explain why his passing, especially the body lock passing, has improved.
I could be wrong with that, but I'm almost positive I saw pictures of him there.
Okay.
Training with them. And he's been training around. He's also just, he's like a beast of a human.
Yeah. He just did
and
everyone.
in plus 99, if you have a history of powerlifting or rugby, it seems to be your jam.
Yeah, the cross-sport athletes, the guys that were elite in another sport that got bored. It was like, I guess I do the grappling, where the athletes aren't necessarily super elite all the time.
Because Francis Pana is in third.
Yeah.
Remember, he's a ginormous man himself, too.
Yeah. Dude, so McQueen hits this eventually. What I liked is the final sequence here, too. So the fact that he gets everyone down with his body lock was hilarious to me. And then the final sequence, he passes. Abraham goes to turtle, or sort of goes to have some back exposure. And Mark McQueen pretty quickly scrambles to his back and gets the choke in.
Yeah.
And it was, again, another big dude that has some gas behind him after, I think, 5 or 6 matches. Like, not a small division either. To still have the gas late in the finals here to move at the speed he did, to cover the hips, to get in front of Abraham's hips, turn the corner, get the body lock, finish the choke like that. I'm impressed. I am really curious who he's going to run into the first round of plus 99 at ADCC, and if we can see him have success with this at like the World Championship level. I don't think he will be able to do that, but I also didn't think we'd see it every single match of this tournament, so I am...
Every once in a while, you get somebody that has something that they do really well, and they can just get it on everybody.
It's an interesting technique. It's just not something we see with any regular. Not something we see outside of like the lower belt guys have any success with. And so have a guy like at black belt at a trials level,
you have
hitting
somebody,
it.
You have somebody like Nicky Rod who does a lot of like double under stuff.
He has a lot of really neat attribute stuff.
Yeah.
This, for me, I don't know why, this kind of checks a different box of like really unique, like attribute heavy technique.
Yeah.
That is honestly weird enough that he might run into an elite level guy that just goes, okay, I'll block this out, and suddenly gets caught in this weird, like, oh, Mark McQueen is insanely strong, and he is the best guy in the world to ever do this technique.
Yeah. And
suddenly I am in, maybe I'm better than him in other areas, but he now has me in the thing that is really niche, and he's the best at, and I don't have a good counter for because he's the best at it.
Yeah.
So I'm really, really curious if we see him have some success with this at the World Championships, just because it meets that great criteria of like very special plus 99 attribute and niche technique. And it's like, you don't have a guy in your gym that does this to you. You don't have a guy in your gym that'll have a counter for this. And so it's like you're seeing Mark McQueen do it to you for the first time in a big match like this. How good are your counters going to be? I don't know, like a guy like Felipe Pena is going to have an answer. But I'm real curious to see because, again, he hit it on everyone.
Yeah.
So it made me excited to go like, ooh, where's this going to go in a year? I'm very excited. Anything else on this, Miranda?
Nope.
Let's move on to the ladies. We had the under 55 kilogram division, Anna Madramo versus Ashley Bendel. Very quick finals match. This was Anna essentially kind of getting taken down early by Bendel. And then Bendel goes to pull her head up in the guard, puts both hands on the outside of Anna, like on the mat.
Yeah.
Anna goes, oh, cool. Overhooks one arm, and then just sort of eventually, after about 10, 15 seconds, makes the angle on a mirror lock, like that overhook arm lock grip.
Yeah.
Exactly what we saw Adele Florino win ADCC with, or win matches in ADCC with, and just finishes the mirror lock.
I think it's if you're not paying attention.
That's kind of what it looked like.
I think it's one of those things that, like, and especially if you don't have somebody who spams those things at you, you're not thinking that it's a problem.
Yeah.
Like you're literally worried about something else. You're worried about her sweeping you. And so you're trying to put your weight in different places. But I would think as soon as anybody grabs that grip on my shoulder or either of my shoulders,
You're just thinking Adele,
normally
Adele.
my shoulders hurt at that point, and I'm like, fuck, and I need to pull my arm out. But I don't know if my shoulders weren't shit, if I would react or not.
I don't know. It was this match was like very short but a little weird to just see Bendel immediately like double post on the mat like that.
It had to be. It had to be.
It had to be like a thing. I'm really worried about the sweep, or I'm worried about like her going high up in the position to really want to get my posture up.
Yeah.
But
It has to be a balance.
this is sort of the classic. This is why when you coach and teach, you go, hey, don't ever put your hands on that. Is this exact technique? Because your hand gets trapped there, and then you can like throw up sweeps or arm locks or triangles off of it. Post on the body. Like this is why you post on the body. Again, it's awesome that Anna was able to force that or able to see that and identify it and get it early. But it was just a weird. It was a very quick match. That was like, oh yeah, you put your hand on the mat, and Anna was able to capitalize and get the sub off of it. So again, impressive for Anna here. Capitalizes and wins it. Fastest trials final that we had here by a pretty decent margin.
Yeah.
Next, the women's under 65 kilogram division, we have Jana Goodman versus Victoria. Help me out here, Miranda.
Rajek.
This was this match. This was another kind of weird error. They're wrestling. The match is good, very back and forth. Not a lot of like big moments. And then late into the match, with 2 minutes left, there's a scramble takedown sequence off of an Uchimata.
Sometimes maybe it's not an error as much as it's just not a good judgment call, because maybe if you know you're going to get taken down, you know you're better from your back. Mm-hmm. You allow the takedown to happen. You get the 2 against you, knowing that you can then sub her once you're down there.
So that's what happens. So Ajana is going forward. There's a wrestling kind of scramble. Victoria jumps guard.
Yeah.
Standing guard. Ayana goes. You see Ayana kind of go, oh, and then just go to her knees, put her down, and just end up in Victoria's guard, and they get 2 for it because it's a takedown. Because it's not going to be a guard pull because Ayana delivers her to the mat in that sequence. It's going to be a guard pull if Victoria would have ended up on her back in that situation. She gets -1 for it, and then the match moves on. But she gives essentially Ayana the 2 points there. It was scored as 3 later in the match. I was kind of confused about the scoring here for this. I understand this to be a 2-point takedown. Again, you end up in the guard. It's not a clean takedown. But there was a 3rd point put up later. There's no commentary that I could find, but it was an odd scoring sequence. Didn't affect the outcome of the match. Ayana Goodman wins this on 2 or 3-0. Yeah. Off of that guard pull in the moment. We watched it. You and I watched it. Yeah. On the pre-show here. Again, I'm guessing that there was I don't know what happened here. Yeah. I want to kind of like talk through it, but
I'm thinking it was probably Victoria thought, or her coaches thought, that her from the guard could sub Inya, and that would
Injana. Injana is how I've been mispronouncing it.
That I think she thought that she could beat her there. That was the place to go.
Or you get the sweep, or you get something off.
Yeah.
But it was just it was kind of in the opposite of what we talked about for Taza, where it's like, your rule set really well.
Yeah.
You're doing everything you can to avoid that score.
But if you're 0-0 and you're coming up towards the end,
you're kind of probably losing an activity.
Yeah.
It was just a very odd tactical choice to make here, and it ends up with Victoria losing that match.
Yeah. And maybe she thought that she wouldn't actually put her down, that she would stand up.
She should stand up and try to counter or do something. It was I don't have a lot. Only person that knows is Victoria here.
Yeah.
Is really, go back to watch the match. There's some good guard work after because Victoria realizes that she's down. But really, in a high level match like this, Yana knows that, hey, I'm out by points now because I've taken her down functionally in the rule set. I kind of have to play this safe. I need to avoid getting penalties, but I can even get one penalty here and still win this. I'm on top.
Yeah.
It made it just a very, hey, you got to play your tactics right. And you win this match. Again, it is odd to me to see that in a trials finals match.
Yeah.
But again, we see it almost every year in a lot of the regions. We'll see some sort of scoring, like you give your opponent the score in the finals match. It's less common than I would like it to be.
Yeah.
But there it is. So Yana Goodman takes that. Again, I am sure we're probably going to see these ladies again at the qualifying trials next year. But again, nice performances. Last one, we have the women's under 65 kilos now. Division. Jessica Tortilla takes this over Natalia Strast. Two Finns going at it, which is always cool to see when you have European countries, some of the less represented European countries. It's not just the UK. It's the Finns, which are very represented in grappling. This was just a really good performance from Jessica Tortilla.
Yeah.
Just heavy pressure on top, consistent passing. Natalia really in the 3/4 half guard, bottom mount for a good bottom 3/4, getting her guard kind of pushed down by Tortilla for the majority of this match. And then just Tortilla playing it correctly, getting her points, getting her score, riding out with just aggression and just solid forward pressure.
Yeah. And some nice passes.
This was just, it wasn't the most flashy match, but it was just very solid jiu-jitsu from Jessica Tortilla on top. And Natalia just trying to sort of recompose her guard, get some frames going, but Tortilla just putting enough of a pace and slowing her down that it was a very clear dominant win for Tortilla on points.
Yeah.
It was fun. So that's all I have for trials. We also had all the other athletes here. This is a trials event and sort of a European Open or European Championship for the other non-professional divisions as well. There's a bunch of matches on Flow you can go find. A lot of them are fun. You should go back and watch the finals for these trials. You're going to see these athletes at the World Championships for the men's divisions and for the women. We're going to see them back in a year at least for the European trials for the second one. And so good to familiarize yourself with the names, see what techniques they bring to the table.
Yep.
And it was fun. So anything else left on trials, Miranda?
I don't think so.
Let's move on to the main event match, which was Tommy Langaker versus Owen Livesey for the vacant 205-pound belt that Craig Jones formerly had. Tommy Langaker is going up in weight for this by a bit.
He weighed in at 86 kilos.
Oh, he weighed in at 86 kilos.
He weighed in at 86 kilos, and Owen weighed in at 92 kilos.
Oh, I didn't know he actually weighed in that light.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He weighed in at 86 kilos, which is a little bit bigger than the 185, cut off.
Which is historically what Langaker will do. I mean, he'll do 77 for trials.
Yeah.
Even. And Owen does 88 and is a decent sized 88 for trials.
88 or under 99.
Yeah. This was just a really good match from Owen.
Yeah, the first round, because this was like a 3-round.
Yeah, it was the Polaris 3-round style event where it's like you win. I always forget the Polaris judging criteria.
It's CGI rules.
So it's overall.
It's 10-point must system.
Oh, it's 10 point. Okay, that's what it was.
And they tell you after each round.
Which I love the open scoring.
They move into this. Owen won the first round, Langaker won the second round, and then
Owen's the sub in the third round.
Yeah. But in an interview with Langaker, he had said that he wanted to try to stand with Owen, which is the first round. Mm-hmm. And you see that it's probably not the smartest idea to stand with Owen.
Well, Owen is so we've talked about Owen Livesey a lot. 2013 Commonwealth Judo champion. good stand-up no-gi wrestler,
Yeah.
good stand-up judoka,
Yeah.
and
MMA fighter.
MMA fighter. He's just known for.
He now lives in Thailand.
Oh, gee, does he now?
Yeah, he
that.
lives and trains in Thailand with his
You
family.
mentioned that last time we talked about him.
Yes.
He's just notoriously really hard to deal with on the feet.
Somebody was talking about they did an interview with him, and he said like when he was in judo, they used to train like hours upon hours every day.
Yeah.
And now he trains 3 times a day, and he feels like he's being
They
lazy.
talked about that on commentary. That was during the commentary
he's
for
like,
the match.
he feels lazy because he only trains 3 times a day. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. But your international judokas, man, are built different.
Yeah.
At that level, dude.
Yeah.
Like even Khabib talks about. He goes in Olympics, wrestling versus judo. Like judo's the more prestigious one. Why? Because there's like 176 countries that compete in judo. So it's like to win in judo, you beat the whole world.
It's also like state sponsored in Europe.
Yeah.
So
it's
like there's a lot more money in it.
To be a high level judoka is it's a different ball game than a lot of other sports. So Owen is a monster on the feet. Again, I like Langaker's always been game. That's one of the things we've talked about for the last 10 years for Langaker is that he's always been game.
And I give it to him. Like when Owen threw him the first time, he bounced back up quick.
Yeah.
Like he didn't stay on his butt very long at all.
No, he was in the match, but you could see by the second round.
Yeah.
In the second round, again, he wins the second round.
Well, second round he pulls, and starts playing his guard game, which is difficult and kind of tricky because he's going to go after you as you try to pass.
But Owen plays it really well, like stays low, puts a lot of pressure. The first round is mainly Owen winning the exchanges on the feet.
Yeah.
And like it's close, but it is clearly like, yep, Tommy is sort of on the defensive here. Owen has good entries on the hips, good entries. And Langaker's not just trying to play a passive defensive game. Langaker's trying to put up offense on Owen, but Owen is stuffing most of it and countering most of it and like getting push outs and getting to body locks and driving Langaker out of the area and most of the exchanges at the end. Owen is getting the better of the end of the exchanges most of the time. Why he wins the first round.
Yes.
That pull in the second round makes a lot of sense for Langaker. It was okay, cool. That didn't work. Probably don't want to fight Owen on the feet. That's why no one fights him on the feet, generally speaking. And then like plays more rangy guard. He kind of gives Owen some things to deal with. It's a closer round, but I think Langaker has more activity in the close round.
Yeah.
But Owen has been fatiguing him with passing. And you can see Owen really, especially late, really starting to lay into the top leg of Langaker, that top side butterfly hook, getting a hook on a cross grip on the top of the shoulder, levering down, pressuring down, rolling through, like really forcing Langaker to carry a lot of his or all of his weight a lot of the time. And Langaker is getting putting up offense off of this. But Owen is not getting subbed, not getting any, put in anything super deep, but using his physical like size and strength to push into Langaker.
Well, and Langaker, it seemed like also had a little bit of an idea that he was going to like wrestle up into Owen. And anybody who's ever trained with anybody who does judo or wrestling, if you wrestle up on them, you're getting hip thrown.
Yeah,
like
and
it's
you can
just,
see a couple times that he would counter.
You come up straight, like in line to get that head and arm throw, and you're just going to be thrown to your back.
It's almost easier to do on wrestlers than it is on judokas because judokas are so happy to have you heavy on that hip, and they can turn that angle in a way that is really well trained.
Do the head and arm from that.
Yeah,
they go around your head.
But a lot of times you can get a sprawl on you.
Yeah,
you can get in this weird sprawl battle where they just kind of try to chuck you off or throw you off enough to reshoot and counter. Judokas, they want you driving in, and they're used to just like, oh, cool, I'm now where I want you to be. Wrestlers like, I can deal with this, I can counter this. Judokas are like, oh, cool, I want you in the spot you have put yourself in if you're a wrestler in this position. And you see him like repeat, Langaker tries to come up, and Owen stops him. Again, Langaker is the more aggressive one, but in this third round, Langaker comes out, and you can go, ooh, Langaker looks visibly tired. Yeah. And the commentary immediately picks up on, ooh, Langaker looks tired. Yeah. And Owen picks up on it as well. And you see Owen.
That's when he hits the double leg, like off jump, like the fastest double leg. I was like, holy shit, that's a fast double leg.
Quick.
Yeah.
And then you see him, Langaker back really what he was doing in the second round, but with none of the wrestle up. Yeah. And it's him playing a more rangy knee shield, trying to get a more complex, like lasso guard going or something going.
Well, I think he was trying to invert to arm,
the Troy bar.
the Troy bar
Yeah.
on the far side.
And Owen recognized that.
Yeah.
And you saw him like pull his arms in close, but like really just in the next like 2 minutes of that round, fatigue Langaker and like eventually get past.
Yeah.
He gets past. He gets the head and arm from the mount, from like the 3/4 mount.
Yeah.
And he does something really interesting when he gets there that I've played with a little bit because I've now been trying to do more head and arms because
Yeah.
it's a technique that I'm really, really poor at. So I like when we see the high-level guys do them because it gives me stuff like, oh, let me look at them, work on that. Langaker's answering the phone.
Yeah.
But he's not doing it where his hands up, like, he's not defeated. He's still up and he's still driving
Yeah.
away, trying to push Owen away with his forearm.
Yeah.
And Owen is just really diligent with his head position. He never just guns head down to try to put a stamp on it.
Yeah.
Like, he waits. And he waits for Langaker to kind of fatigue his arm. And he keeps doing something really interesting. He keeps doing like a joystick arm lock where Owen will pull the hand down so that it's nice and close to Langaker.
Yeah.
And he'll flare out the outside shoulder. And what it does is like it puts a lot of pressure on Langaker's shoulder.
Yeah.
You're not in the position that Owen is doing it from gonna tap.
Yeah.
If you're a guy with Langaker, like you're bendy enough, you're high level enough that like I know how to mitigate that.
Yeah.
But what it does is it forces you to counter and like put your arm away.
Yeah.
But it also fatigues your shoulder because now it's over rotated and stretched and you're having to pull your arm back in. And so that fatigue of blocking with like answer the phone or blocking a push away
Yeah.
is like one set of muscle groups. And then you fatigue the other side. No one does it like twice. And then by the third time, you see Langaker have to now play much closer. The head and arm choke is much more in. And you see Owen go, okay, cool, now it's my time.
Yeah.
And then finish the head and arm choke from there. But it was a very, very well thought out performance from Owen of just, I'm not going to get overzealous in this position and drive forward because Langaker is a wizard with his counters.
Yeah.
And will pull a rabbit out and will counter this. And will counter this and can beat me here.
And end up on your back in some weird ass way.
But that's what
didn't.
Langaker is known for so well. So it was great to see Owen like recognize that he had the edge and that he just needed to play it cautiously, but also not just sit there and hold and wait.
Yeah.
Actively be doing something and like slowly furthering his. It was a very, very good performance from Owen here, where I think a lot of like an earlier career Owen would have probably like gunned for the choke here. Now he knew he had Langaker.
We're down a more catchy kind of version.
Yes.
Of
It was
a
really great performance from Owen. I'm really curious who they're going to see, who they're going to bring in for the 205 belt. Like, this was a very impressive performance. Langaker is no slouch, is truly world class, has been on the Polaris stage a lot of times. And to sort of slow Langaker down, use your weight, use your size, impose on him, and then sub Langaker.
Yeah.
Langaker does not get subbed very often at all. It's rare. Very, very impressive performance from Owen as well. He's the bigger guy here, but that's the weight class. That's the belt. Curious. Any thoughts? Anything else you saw here?
No.
It was really good. I had a lot of fun. This was also in the midst of the squads tournament, which was
it was like it was after the first set of matches.
Which
I
I
think
think is a great place to have
it. Was after the first 45 minutes, and then there was another 45 minutes afterwards.
Yeah, it was a really great place to have that in.
Yeah.
I liked it. We're going to talk about that next week because we were already running long on the show. The show will end up being 2 hours anyway. And I actually do want to talk about some of those matches. So we'll move it in with BJJ Stars next week for some of the select matches because I think they're worth their own time. So next week we have BJJ Stars 17, the GP, the under 70 kilogram GP. We have once again Gabriel Souza, who we saw this week on Polaris. We have Ethan Carlston, who we saw this week on EBI. We have Miriam McQueen.
What's he?
He got out first round. He got subbed in overtime. Yeah, I had to go back and
Okay.
watch because I didn't actually. I missed that he was there, and it was just wild because he was formerly the EBI overtime champion.
Yeah.
So it was an odd performance from Collinston. But again, you're coming off of CJI the week before, 2 weeks before. Not a necessarily super unexpected result there.
Something where you're practicing your overtime positions.
Yeah, for CJI when there's $1 million on the line. Miriam McQueen is in this one as well. Josh Cisneros, Ruan Alvarenga, Lucas Canto, Julio Arantes, and Kleber Barbosa. That is a wild under 70 kilogram.
That's an interesting group right there because there's some guys we haven't seen in a while. I haven't seen Ruan Alvarenga since he may or may not have put out Gabriel Souza and ADCC rule against him.
I thought that was
So maybe we'll get the two of them against each other again.
That would be cool. We also, again, haven't seen Sister Rose since the BJJ. Oh, we saw him once, I thought. Since the BJJ, Road to BJJ event where he had the horrible weight cut.
Yeah.
70 kilograms is a better weight for him.
Yeah.
It's, 10 pounds up from that 45 he had to make. So I hope that's fine.
Good.
He's healthy. Also on the card, we have super fights. We have Dago Soje versus Harrison Gabriel. We just saw Harrison on UFC BJJ. Yeah. Apparently, he looks like he's out of that contract now, which is interesting. If he can do BJJ stars, unless it's in the gi, and in which case we don't know if UFC cares or not.
So there was a conversation that went down when we were in Vegas with somebody who may or may not be on the BJJ, on the UFC BJJ system. And he had indicated that his was not like that.
Okay.
That he could compete for them and compete for other organizations.
Interesting. Oh, so it wasn't exclusive.
So I don't think all
the contracts are exclusive, but the champion contracts we know are exclusive.
Yeah. Okay. And there may or may not also be like Mikey Musumeci's been doing a bunch of podcasts recently. He did the Simple Men. He did
I haven't listened to
a bunch of them. And he said that there's also like a champion clause that if you win a championship, it extends your contract.
Yeah, and that's not uncommon.
Like, which is a normal thing to do. So,
and usually they compensate you for that as part of that, give you champion pay.
Yeah.
We also have Leo. Sorry, not to cut you off.
No.
Anything else there?
No.
We have Leo Ferreira versus Felipe Andrew. We have Nolan Stewart versus Ryder Zurchi. Peter Frank versus Garrett Gregory. Jessica Carolina versus Giovanni Oliveira, and Jose Victor versus Marcin Gabriel. So we'll talk about that next week. Nothing much to preview. The super fights will be a lot of fun. The Nogi GP, we don't have who's going to go into, so we're not going to preview that. Half of those guys can take that entire division. Wouldn't surprise any of us.
Yeah, and it really depends on how they set things up.
Yes. Do they do it out of the hat? Do they have bracketed beforehand? It really this is very much a bracket that any of these guys can take with the right bracketing, which is cool, which again, why we like BJJ Stars. So we'll do that and the Polaris Squads event next week. And that's it.
Well, we had EBI 25.
We did have EBI 25.
We wanted to at least say that.
Let's talk about the finals for that, because that final was really interesting.
It was very quick.
It was like oddly quick. So this one.
It was Landon Elmore.
What were they calling him? Big Slime or something?
Big Slime.
Big Slime.
Of Kingsway versus Keith Gregorian.
Yep. Dude Landon Elmore was going for footlocks on everyone.
He does an Aoki that he hit a bunch in PGF too.
Yeah, he's a PGF champion, right?
Yeah.
Right now.
And he's what's called champion. He took out Max Hansen at Enigma. I think he's
really? He's an Enigma champion as well?
150 champion or something like that.
Jesus. So
he's one of those.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a guy I was familiar with at all up into this event. I think I've heard his name before, but give you some idea about his run. Landon Elmore defeats Roman Kornova, who has had some really good matches on Enigma.
Yeah.
By heel hook in the first round. Then he beats Bryce Mitchell by submission, heel hook in the second round, quarterfinals. Then he beats Reese Lafair, a guy he trains with, by heel hook in the semifinals. All pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like he starts gunning immediately for the legs. And then in the first or second transition or the first or second entry, he's getting most of these. It is very, very impressive. Then in the semifinal, Reese Lafair was the semifinals. Then in the finals, in like a minute.
Yeah.
In the second section of entries, the first entry, he immediately jumps into Keith's legs, goes for a heel hook, goes for an ankle lock Aoki. Yeah. Keith gets out in a very tight ankle lock too.
Keith counters, and they break up, get back, and then the whole sequence basically.
And then Landon Elmore basically pulls a saddle.
Yeah.
From like a standing position. It was a really interesting entry. I watched it twice. It's essentially a saddle entry that people were using a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He hits it on Keith, gets down, turns the leg, turns to the outside, and then changes the grip to the ankle lock, and then finishes the ankle lock. That was it. He's the champion now. It was an incredibly quick run through. I don't really have much to say about it. It was. We're gonna see more of him.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're gonna see more of him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him on Who's Number One.
Keith's run was pretty good too.
Yeah, Keith had a fun run. He beats Jonathan Wilson by heel hook in the first round. He beats Rafael Ferreira by heel hook in the quarterfinals. He beats Gianni Grippo by rear naked choke in overtime. That was a back and forth match. That was a fun match to watch.
Because Gianni had a pretty good run too with his head and arm triangles, like he likes to do.
Which is like he hits one of those in the
head
first round.
Head and arm triangle,
and then hit second.
There's certain things that people are going to get.
This was an incredibly submission heavy EBI event.
Yes.
In a way that they haven't been in years. But again, you bring the 155ers, like these are the guys that are that interface of weight class where it's like guys are too big, guys are too small.
And you also had a lot of guys that were of a high level in this card.
Yes. You had a lot of guys that were also going to go for it, like Derek Rayfield, Ethan Krellinston, Reese LaFleur, Bryce Mitchell, JJ Bowers, Landon Elmore. Like, this was a really, really stacked card. And so as a result, we got a lot more submissions than I think we usually do, like a huge amount of submissions in the first time.
Yeah, normally it goes to overtime almost every single time,
and only half of them here in the first round go to overtime. Only half of them in the second round. Sorry, only one in the quarterfinals go to overtime.
Yeah.
Only one in the semifinals, Corey and Grippo, which is reasonable. Those guys have some history, and Grippo is incredibly hard to put away. And Keith is also incredibly hard to put away in the EBI rule, so that's where he kind of gets his start. And in the finals, to have a submission is really, really exciting. So again, it was a fun EBI because you just had a lot. This is the level of EBI that if EBI brings this level of talent, I am much more interested into bringing kind of EBI back into our framework for stuff we cover. Yeah. They just had a lot of cards and the rule set had problems for a while, and so we've had people asking us to cover EBI. If EBI keeps putting on cards like this,
because
much more interested in covering EBI.
What we were getting is a lot of guys that were really good at overtime.
Yes,
and winning because they were really good at overtime.
Yeah,
and
that's not that. If this event is any indicator, man, and they can get this level back, super interested in covering EBI. This was a really, really fun one. If it didn't happen on the same week of CJI and Polaris and Trials, would have dedicated the whole show to it. So that's all I got, Miranda. Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right, so that's next week. We're gonna do Polaris and BJJ Stars, and then we are probably in the blender for more and more events coming up here. We're moving into ADCC season
then
for Trials.
I think as October starts, we have
a UFC BJJ.
Yeah, we have the first or the third UFC BJJ.
Yep, and then in November, mid-November, we have Trials.
Yeah,
coming up. So we're really we're in the thick of it for the year, and then we're end of the year. We have a little drought again. Probably January, but we're still 3 months away from that. So should be fun. So as always in the show, I'm your host, Maine, my co-host,
Miranda.
And we are the Grappling Rants, and that's what it is. Stay safe. If you like the show, please consider sharing it on Facebook with the folks at your gym. It's the best way that we grow the show, and we really appreciate it. You can reach out to us on email.
We also have Instagram. We have Facebook. We have Twitter. We have Google+.
Until that shuts down.
We have a website.
If you have an event you would like to have us cover, please let us know. If you have a name, like most people do, and you'd like to have us stop butchering it,
let us know.
Reach out to us. The show is also available on YouTube, Spotify, in addition to iTunes and every other podcast service. We very much appreciate your time, and thank you.